Which ones are the Reapers?
That was my thought too!
This world fits you, Banger. Wake up, defend, survive. There's gotta be something better than this.
The film is set against this really epic post-apocalyptic world. How did you balance the stakes of the apocalypse with something as personal as losing your husband or wife and the life your characters once knew?
Yeah, I guess the atmosphere of the movie, it really, the quietness and the isolation really kind of just like amplifies all of the loss and grief and how important your family and friends are. At the same time, I think that what really holds the story together is the hopefulness and kind of that endlessly looking for the light.
Yeah, I suppose there's something in there about accepting change and the inevitability of it and you know, keeping on.
You start to get into the relationship between Jacob's character and my character, and then you start to see vulnerabilities leak through this facade of constant protection and, you know, super masculinity. We were the odd couple. You know, he's this guy who's looking because he's kind of obsessing about the loss of his wife or the relationship with his dog. He's thinking there has to be more out there. And I'm like, but we're protected in this bubble that we've created. All the relationship that Bangley needs is Hig, because there's a great exchange and a great back and forth, you know? But obviously, Hig has a need for more. And I think it crushes Bangley. You know, there's a moment when he puts his hand on the window of the plane when he's leaving. I think he's so sad that his other half is being ripped from him, you know?
You on your own in lands you don't know, but others do. You know, we have no idea what's out there.
Can you talk a little bit about how you approached working with a dog, especially when they play such a key part of your character's development?
She was so well trained and she was such a tremendous dog. Because there's always, when you're working with children and animals, there's always kind of this like uncomfortable feeling of like, should we really be doing this? You know, because so I just wanted her to be comfortable. And in the end, she ended up making me, you know, much more comfortable shooting the movie. And she was better than me for sure.
So what'd you do before the world ended?
I was kissing my wife, playing with my dog.
Can you tell us about why Jacob was the perfect choice to lead this film?
I cast really well. I'm a good caster. And normally if you're a good caster, I've looked at everything they've done. The value of TV is multifaceted to me. I need a bedtime story. So I'll flick, usually in the independent channel, see if there's something. And I find actors that way. It's a bit like a casting book.
Was there something that you saw Jacob in specifically?
Yes. It's called The Long Narrow Road North. It's about a family doctor who finds himself into the Japanese war and then a Japanese prisoner war camp. Very, very good. Jacob.
You respect me!
Now, I really want to talk about Reapers because that scene that you had, the Reapers,
Yeah.
with the 30
I thought it was a new movie that I had done.
You're like, wait, is that a new movie?
I do
That's so funny. But the 30 or 50 Reapers in that scene that you had that you were taking on at once, can you tell me a little bit about what that day was like on set?
It wasn't just a day.
Yeah.
It was several days. I think we did day for night, but I'm not positive, I think. But it was a whole massive, like, dance choreography, you know? And I worked with the stunt team for a while. You know, usually actors aren't prepared or in shape enough to do that kind of thing, so you have a few weeks that you can kind of get ready because you're going to be doing it over and over and over and over and over. But it was a chaotic setup that was well designed and really fun to do.
It was all moving so quickly. There's this like amazing spontaneity to a Ridley.
It was honestly chaos. The set piece was so ginormous, and Ridley is a master of this stuff. And Margaret and I, we're not known for our action movies, I don't think. So we just never seen anything like it. I just remember we were in this sort of valley, and it was so real. Just like 100 people came running over the hill on horseback with guns firing, and I think there was a sort of a moment where we were both quite gangly and like have just done all these indies and just like looked at each other like, what the are we supposed to do? It was a crazy sort of couple of weeks.
Well, I do this funny thing. I story because I can, my art school training, so I can really draw. I prepare and film on paper, and I'm seeing the scenes. So I begin that way, and then because of that, becomes very efficient with knowing what we're doing.
What sets Ridley apart from other directors you've worked with?
I would say his frames, his composition. He's a visual director, and his action is poetry. His visuals are poetry, and just no one else that can do that like Ridley Scott.
Just like the scale and the speed and the confidence. I've never been on a set that operated anything like it. It was a real experience.
Ridley creates an ambiance that's very electric and very experimental, and I love being around it. I think I had a reaction in the beginning because I'd forgotten, because I worked with him on American Gangster, and it had been 20 years or whatever, but it feels like you're in the beginning again, and you're doing stock theater in Rochester, New York, and it feels a little dangerous and fun and satisfying, and you don't know what's going to happen from moment to moment, which you're trying to avoid as an actor because you want to be comfortable on a very natural level, but then he gets you in this very dangerous place and it becomes addictive. He's got his way, and he's using multiple cameras, which nobody does. He's using 5, 6 cameras in a scene. A scene can be done in 20 minutes that should take all day. So that's very different. That's only Ridley.
I want to also talk about the other actors on set, or if there was a particular day that a fellow co-star did something on set that really impressed you.
I think Guy Pearce, how relaxed he was, I never understood. He's such a veteran, or he's worked with Ridley so many times that there was never a moment of like, oh, I feel off here. And I think he's incredible. The thing that surprised me the most with Margaret and Jacob was how willing they were. You see a lot of new actors that get intimidated or whatever, and they start to either act out or they implode or something like that. Whereas I think those two people are really interested in how, which is a very old school mentality, how to really create the best scene that you can. So you have to be open and you have to be vulnerable. And they were both great. I love Jacob. I had a blast with.
Besides this film, is there another credit that you think you should be known for on IMDb, or that you're very proud of?
Honestly, Duelist, Alien, Blade Runner, Legend, that's 4. And Legend at the time, I'd taken the idea of, instead of doing a cartoon, like, Snow White, I want to make it live action. I was 25 years ahead of Disney. I hadn't done that yet. So I went to Disney with Legend, and it's 21-year-old Tom Cruise, but the man who steals it is the devil. It was Tim Curry from the Rocky Horror Show. Watch it, that's amazing. So that's 4, do you want the rest?
I mean, if you want to.
No.
I was just kidding.